Each day this week, we've been looking at different areas where you can make £250 worth of savings. Yesterday, it was energy bills. And now, Andy Webb from Be Clever With Your Cash is here to show us the tips that you can try and save £250 from your broadband, your phone, and all your subscriptions bills. Andy, lovely to see you.
Hello.
Thanks for coming in. Now, can this be done?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're going to knock this out of the park.
Really?
Absolutely. Yeah. And some of it will take just a couple of clicks as well. So this is hopefully some relatively simple ways to make some money.
All right, we're ready. I know these guys have got some questions as well because they are also consumers who want to save money on their bills. So let's kick off. What are we looking at first?
Broadband.
Broadband.
Interesting stat for you. 35% of people are currently out of contract when it comes to broadband. And this is big because that means they've got all the power when it comes to finding a new deal, finding some lower prices, because you can just walk away if you want to. So have a look on those comparison sites, see which deals are out there, find a low price. But don't just take the lowest price that you find, because then take that info that you've got, get in touch with your existing provider, because you can haggle. You can
go back to them.
Go back to them and see, they might match it, they might even beat it. It's worth giving it a go. It's relatively simple. You can do it on chat, you can do it on the phone, lots of ways of doing it. If they don't, well, then you can walk away. If they do, save some of that hassle of swapping your router out and things like that.
So find out if you're out of contract, and if you are, switch, take that price, go back to your original provider, say, look, this is what I've been offered, can you match it? Yeah, and move away. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, it depends how much you're paying right now, how much you can save, but I wouldn't be surprised if like 85 quid a year could be definitely a sort of ballpark figure you could be looking at. When those deals, when you first sign up, they're quite cheap, but then your contract expires, your prices go up. New deals at a lower price. So it's a really good one to start with.
OK, so we kicked off, that's a good amount. That's 85 quid off your bill if you're out of contract. Nick, I know that
I've got a problem.
I've got a problem.
Sherry might think I've got more than one problem, but a problem that maybe you can help me with. I've got broadband. I'm with BT. They guaranteed a certain number of, is it gigabytes or whatever it is, and we just have so you're watching Netflix, and literally every night the thing goes round and you've got to disconnect it.
So your speed is not great.
My speed, and it's all, that no one seems to be able to get it sorted, and it comes from me. So I've got another year left with this contract. Would your advice be to sort of say, look, I'm severing this contract because you're not fulfilling your conditions? What should I do? Because I'm throwing money away and I'm not getting what they promised.
Yeah, it's frustrating, isn't it? I mean, if you aren't getting the speeds that you've been promised, then Ofcom, the regulator, they've got rules that say they let them know, and they've got 30 days to fix it. If they don't fix it in 30 days, then you can leave penalty free. So it's really useful for people at home in this situation. I know you've already across this stuff, but that's a really good exit, because otherwise, if you try to leave, you're going to get charged quite high penalties. So if the speed isn't good enough, a great way to get out.
How many chances do you give them? Because I've done that.
30 days. 30 days.
And then they sort it, and then it goes off again. Do you have to keep going back?
Yeah, I mean, I imagine that's the kind of thing
I
would be putting a complaint in then and try escalating it and just seeing what you can get, what information you can get. And then once you get this, you do exit and you do go look around, don't just, go straight to a different provider. There are some extra savings you can get. So don't always do a really good extra step. Cashback sites, incentives.
Right. So that's our other tip when it comes to broadband. That's monitoring your speed. If you're not getting that speed that you require, then they've got 30 days to fix it. If they can't fix it, then actually that means that you can get out of your contract penalty free. There's one more tip you have for us.
Yeah, so just sort of talking about that one just now as well. Okay. There are some great ways to get a little bit extra once you've found that lowest price. Yeah. It could be, say, cashback sites, but sometimes these websites, these providers, they'll go like, here's a prepaid credit MasterCard card that you can get with like 100 quid extra, or maybe it's a free smart speaker, all these little extras which can again bundle together, make your savings even bigger. So there's definitely a lot you can be doing. You have to be out of contract or able to get out of that contract, but once you can, big savings. I reckon more than 85 quid, but that's a good starting point.
All right, so that's brilliant. Ask for incentives, get them to work for you basically, monitor your speed, and by switching, that's a saving already of £85. No expense spared on this show. We've got the ka-ching sound. Right, let's move on actually to mobile phone contracts, which is another big one that a lot of people sort of, I suppose, is it the same thing being in and out of contract? Is that one of the things that you need to watch out for?
Yeah, again, with all of these things, once you're tied into a contract, unless there is a way you can get out of it, and it's harder to do that, then you're locked in. So make a note, any of these things, broadband, mobile, anything we talk about, if you're in contract, make a note of when it expires, because that's when you can start getting some of these savings. It's really, really important you do.
Okay, but you're starting here up. Your top tip is piggybacking.
Yeah.
So and that's worth 120 quid. I have no idea what it means.
It's a really interesting one. So you might not be aware of this, but there's only 4 mobile signals out there, 4 networks: EE, O2, Vodafone, and 3.
Yeah.
But there's dozens of providers. So how does that work out? They're doing something called piggybacking. So those other networks, the smaller names, they're using the main signals. So for example, giffgaff uses O2, Smarter uses 3, Leica Mobile uses EE. Right. So if you are happy with your signal, you're worried about switching to a different provider because you don't want to lose reception at home or whatever it might be, you will be able to find a different provider with the exact same signal because they are piggybacking. And I had a quick look this morning, like a little 5-minute search, and I found on O2's website right now, 25 gig of data for £20 a month. giffgaff, who are exactly the same signal, exactly the same amount of data, but for £10 a month.
Wow.
So that's your 120 quid. And that was just like a 5-minute search. There are so many more networks you can do this with when you're hunting around and looking for these savings. It's a great thing to be doing.
So I'm with O2,
and
I pay £65 a month, and I think that's for my phone and my daughter's phone. She's 14, and that seems so high.
Yeah.
And I'm, when you're busy, and every time I see it, I go, God, that's so high. But I don't know how to rectify it without going through the faff. Because what I like is that when you go to O2, you can get through to someone. So I like the service. Got no complaints with the service, but I do think it feels high.
Yeah, well, I would say, so service-wise, that might change. One of the things you might get at these lower paying tariffs is, a couple of companies is not quite the same.
But like, how often do I speak to O2? Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Not that often.
So you can, go and ditch it for another one, keep the same signal, that's absolutely fine. Or if you do want to stick with those big providers, maybe another route is to go via a third party. So comparison sites, they'll often have lower price deals.
Oh, I see. Okay.
With the big guys as well. And then you get access to some of those extras, like the rewards things that come with it as well, and maybe that customer service if you ever did need to get in touch with them. So there's all these ways, rather than going directly to the big guys, shop around for piggybacking, or potentially even just look at ones which are other ways of getting deals.
Great. Okay, so piggybacking, that's going to save you £120. What's your next tip?
The next one we'll talk about here is to be aware of roaming. So when we overpay for data, okay,
overpay for data.
This is a big thing. So on your bills is, it's so easy to get upsold on data, isn't it? Some people think I've got unlimited data because I'm using it on my phone all the time, or even 250 gig, even 30 gig. For most people, that is well over the odds. You do not need that amount of data for most people. If you go onto your app, on your account, you should be able to see exactly how much data you've used. And I think a lot of people would be really surprised how low that is. For most people, 8 gig is going to be absolutely fine. And if you are changing your deal, your SIM deal, from something which is a really high data allowance to something much, much lower that you need, then again, the savings here can be huge. So have a look at it. And if you are still thinking, well, no, I'm on like 15, 20, are there ways you can reduce it? When you're at home, always connect to Wi-Fi, download the movies when you're on Wi-Fi, things like that, and really bring it down.
You can reduce your data. And actually, they're very good. And usually the app or your bill will tell you how much data you've used, so you can get an average of how much you're using. Let's look at your last tip before we move on. Phone contracts, there's roaming charges.
Yeah, so this is a big thing because it used to be included, didn't it? Before Brexit, it was the law that everyone had to have free roaming in Europe. So you can use your phone as you would when you're abroad. That's changed for particularly some of the big networks now. And if you go abroad and don't do anything about it, that can cost you hundreds, if not thousands of pounds, and some of these data charges can really, really rack up. So if this is a big thing for you, if you're overseas a lot, look for one where it is included, because that extra £1 a month that it might be versus another network could pay for itself based on those charges you could otherwise be faced with abroad. So that's a really, really big one to think about as well.
I've just come back from France. I've just had a week, and it's £3 a day.
Yeah.
I think it's £3 a day, or £15. It works out about £3 a day to use your phone to pay for your rent.
And that adds up.
You put it down as a Brexit benefit. I had to go there. I'm sorry.
Ouch.
The last one, and I think this one I've certainly been using for the last 2 or 3 years, which is your advice of going SIM only. So don't get trapped in that 12-month, 24, 36-month contract.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there used to be the way, didn't it? When we first all got phones, we were upgrading every time the contract finished.
Yeah.
You got a new handset and then came and did it again and kept doing that. Phones are going to be fine beyond a year, 2 years. So keep your phone and just get a separate deal just for the minutes, the text messages and the data. Just pay for that and it will bring your bill down massively.
I think that's exactly the mistake that I made.
Yep.
That's exactly where I went wrong.
SIM only is a
Getting a posh phone
very, very
every
good
6
way to
months
go.
or something.
So we've got overpaying for data. Look out for that. We've got the roaming charges, very important, especially if you're travelling. SIM only is going to save you a lot of money. And piggybacking, which I had no idea what it meant, but use the cheaper companies that use the same network that you're already on, and a saving of £120. There we go. Now, let's look at the subscriptions. Now, of course, this has gone sort of a little bit crazy now because subscriptions, TV subscriptions, all sort of services subscriptions, there's loads there. What's your advice?
Yeah, so 49% apparently of households are spending money on subscriptions they're not even using. That's a huge amount. That could be about £14 a month. But I think a lot of that is going to be, as you say, those film and TV streaming services. Because there are just so many of them, which is great when you want choice of what to watch. But each time you add one on, those bills are getting higher and higher and higher. But there is some good news from this, is because you're not, with most of the time, you're not tied into long contracts with these services. So my top tip here is to, as you've got there at Spring Clean, ditch all but one of those TV streaming services. Get rid of them all. No, we can. You can do it. Don't worry.
So like, what do you mean, like Netflix or?
Yeah, so Netflix, Amazon Prime Video, there's Disney Plus. There's so many of them now.
Disney Plus, yeah.
You can, but if you've got them all, how can you actually watch more than all at once?
Can you pick them up? Say if you've got the long summer holidays, can you go, I'm going to do Disney for all the Marvel?
Do you let your children just sit in front of a television all summer holidays? You are the sort of parent that Mr. Daly was talking about.
Right here. The more the merrier. But can you pick them up and put them down?
Yeah, and that's the thing, because unless you've signed into a specific deal with them initially, most of them are 30 days. So ditch them all, apart from one, and then binge it. Just watch everything on that one service, and when you've completed it, cancel it.
Someone comes in and says, "Have you seen this?" Or it's on Amazon. I've only got Netflix.
So maybe you want to balance it slightly, but yeah. Let's say you are saving £8 a month by doing this. You're cancelling 1 out of 3.
So yeah, do a spring clean, and maybe just keep the one that you're sort of currently watching, and ditch the others.
Watch everything.
Watch it. Finish that, and then the next one. Let's have a look at what you're saying. Is sharing is caring. What is that?
Well, I mean, we all used to share people's passwords, don't we? We all kind of been doing that. Netflix clamped down on it. You can't do it. Netflix.
I can't hear you.
But
sounds like a conspiracy
here. You can
here.
do it officially, right? And Spotify's a really good example here. So let's say there's 2 of you in a household. You're both paying $10.99 for Spotify Premium. You can get something called Spotify Duo for $14.99, which is 2 plans. So that in itself is saving yourself £84 a year, and you're not sacrificing anything. You're just putting it on one account. They do a family plan, which has more accounts. In fact, some of the other streaming services also have that family plan. So a great way to kind of legally share your stuff but save some money. So that's a top one to think about.
Okay. And the final one?
Final one. Well, what do you've got a choice? Which one do you want to go for?
Well,
let's go for Scrap Sky, shall we? Let's do that one.
Oh no! Don't say that.
Now, why would you scrap Sky?
So when you sign up for Sky, you are paying a huge amount and being locked into a long contract, probably 18 months. And people are, but I want it because I want these channels. Most of the time, people are just watching normal terrestrial channels, right? That's what most people are watching. But if they do want to watch the Sky shows, they might not be aware you can watch most of those on something called Now TV. And that is another streaming service where you can cancel every 30 days. So if you want to, I'm just going to get Now TV for the entertainment for 30 days, watch those Sky shows that I want to watch, catch up on them, then cancel it.
Like Sky Sport, would you get that on?
That's more expensive, Sky Sports, about £34. But again, if you only had that occasionally, not the whole season, and they're often deals, like I've got it for £20 a month right now. That's a lot cheaper than that, plus all the other Sky things bundled together. Big savings.
I've just signed up to Sky. That's where were you 2 weeks ago?
So we're out of time because there's been so much on here. So actually putting everything together, I can tell you, your broadband contract, £85, the piggybacking as well, all that's £120, and the subscription, spring cleaning, all that together, you've managed to bring that total of savings to £301.
That's the tip of the iceberg.
Thank you.
Loads more we could do.
Wow.
Thank you. That has been fantastic. Well, look, that's it for today.